Hello. We're going to take a look at function pointers today with some exercises that show us how we can declare variables that will point to the functions that we have written in our programs. In our first exercise, we're going to make a function pointer called Fashion Designer. It's going to represent the creative work of a fashion designer. The way that these said functions are going to work is that they take a string representing an outfit, such as t-shirt, and they print a message that's related to that. We're going to write a function called Supreme Streetwear and point to it in our main function. So to get started, let's go to 10a function pointers. And here we're going to be working with shorter programs today, so I'm just going to have one CPP file for our for each of our exercises. I don't even think I'm going to make a make file. We're going to keep it pretty low key, I think. So this will just be exercise1.cpp. Here is what I want to do. We'll need IOStream, and we'll want information. In fact, I'll even go so far as to do the thing I shouldn't do, which is use a standard namespace just to save myself some typing time. Okay, now I have to create a function pointer. So I'm going to call it Fashion Designer. This is the name of my function pointer. And now what I need to do is figure out how am I actually going to declare this variable. There's a couple of different ways to do it. One of them is to say, and I guess before, no, I can just make it now, it's fine. So let's first of all think of what kind of functions is this going to point to. So the function is going to point to take strings and they print. So they don't return anything. So that means these are void functions. This is a function pointer called Fashion Designer, and it takes a string as a parameter. So here is my function pointer. It's called Fashion Designer. It is a pointer to functions that return nothing and accept strings as parameters. Now, let's actually make this Supreme Streetwear function. Void Supreme Streetwear, string outfit, output Supreme. We'll put some, maybe we'll put some little text around it. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's put the outfit here. Sure. And now this will point to Supreme Streetwear. And now what I can do is I can say Fashion Designer given t-shirt. And let's see what happens. Terminal, compile, run, Supreme t-shirt. So let's do a review of what the code is that we wrote. This function is pretty basic. I take a string, I print some messages out, including the outfit in there. But this is the line where things get kind of messy. So I've declared Fashion Designer, which is the name of my pointer variable. But you notice that I don't write, for instance, int star fashion designer or even function star fashion designer. I have to write the name of it in parentheses with an asterisk next to the name, the return type before it, and the parameters after it, if any. If there are no parameters, you just leave the parentheses blank. Once I have created my pointer, I then need to point it to something. And now note again, we're not using the ampersand here. We're just saying, hey, point to Supreme Streetwear. But it does effectively the same thing, which is that it takes this pointer and makes sure it's pointing to the function Supreme Streetwear. And that way, when I call Fashion Designer t-shirt, you'll see it's actually calling Supreme Streetwear of the t-shirt because this Fashion Designer is taking the form of the Supreme Streetwear function. Another way that you can declare this is to instead say that I want a function of type void that takes a string called Fashion Designer, which also is equal to Supreme Streetwear. I think I may need to include function for this. Let me double check. Yeah, so I do need to include function. That should do it. Oh, is it not function? What's the name of this library? Does it say in the slides? No. C++ function. I should add it to the slides. Standard function. Yes, this is the one. Which are we for? Functional, of course. Functional. There we go. And of course, it does the same thing. And I should correct the slides, and I'll do that actually right now. Why not? Student fast from. Space this out a little bit. Pardon me needing to use the video time, but I do want to not forget to do this because this is quite important. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to use this at all. So yes, there we go. It's from functional. Okay, so two different options for implementing your function pointers. You should know both though, because you will see different ones used from time to time. Also important to remember this is actually from the standard library in case it does come up. Doesn't change anything, all is well. Okay, and that completes our first exercise. Let's move on to the second. So second exercise here. Make an array of function pointers that can showcase fashion designers of different styles, such as haute couture, streetwear, evening gowns, casual wear. Allow the user to choose which fashion aspect to showcase and execute it using the appropriate function pointer. Okay. So let's duplicate this. This is example 2. Replace our instructions. Okay, so we got a streetwear one. That one's easy. Let's make a few more functions for these different styles. So we got haute couture, evening gown, casual wear, and then of course Supreme streetwear. And then for this, what's the vibe that I get from the first images of haute couture? Trying to process this in my mind to figure out, how would I represent this with a simple text argument? And you obviously can't, but I'm going to try to do my very best, which I guess is going to be OMG. Look at that outfit. So there's my haute couture evening gown. Very mindful, very demure outfit. Casual wear, we'll just say nice outfit, pretty simple. And of course, Supreme streetwear, we've got our Supreme stuff. Okay, so now we have these 4 different functions, and we're going to put them all into an array. So a couple different options. Once again, you can do this with a with this format. I'm going to do it using the standard function option. So it is going to be an array of fashion designers. We'll call this one fashion styles. 4. There's 4 of them, which are going to be haute couture, evening gown, casual wear, Supreme streetwear. Allow the user to pick which one. Okay, so pick an option. New line. 1. Couture. This for the others. So we got evening gown, casual wear, Supreme streetwear. 2, 3, 4. We'll read in their input. Input, cin input. And then what we can do is we can say fashion styles input -1, because remember, if they're typing in 1 for haute couture, then that actually should be 0. And so this gives us the function itself, and then we'll ask the user for a outfit. Enter an outfit. I think I can use getLine here. I gotta be very careful if I'm mixing them up, but it should be fine. String outfit, put it into outfit, and then call this with outfit, and we'll see if this works. I may have made a mistake, but we'll find out. Okay, go. Oh, no, seems fine. All right. Let's pick evening gown. Oh, okay, so mixing them up did cause some problems. So let's do... Cin dot, I think ignore should help me with that. Enter an outfit, we'll say ball gown. Very mindful and very demure ball gown. I can run it again, I can say casual wear, shirt, nice shirt. And there we go. And so the sort of power of what we've done here is now I can have a single array that doesn't just include data types, it actually includes different functions I can call. And now I have the option to, in this very simple line here, pick one of the functions from the array and call that function with whatever parameter I want. And this is a very powerful tool that gets used quite a bit in C++, so handy to have at our disposal. All right, that wraps up exercise 2. Let's go on to the next. Exercise number 3. Write a function that takes a fashion designer function pointer as a parameter. The function should iterate through a vector of outfits and apply the provided fashion designer function pointer to each outfit. Okay. So duplicate this again. Here is my instructions. So we got our different fashion designers here. We're not going to bother with picking the stuff because that was part of the last exercise. Yes, this can all go away. Okay, so we want to write a function that's going to take a function designer function pointer as a parameter. So there's a couple ways to do this. One of them is the sort of messy way, and then one of them will make ourselves a little shortcut. So the messy way, I notice here it doesn't say it returns anything, but it does clearly take one of those function pointers as a parameter, and also is going to take a vector of outfits, which are vectors of strings. And so this will say, showcase outfits given a fashion designer function pointer, and we know those look like this. So this is my first parameter, is the fashion designer function pointer, and the second parameter is a vector of strings called outfits. And here I can simply say for string outfit in outfits fashion designer outfit. Boom. Now let's make some vectors and call this. So vector string outfits dot pushback t-shirt. Let's get some things: dress, hat, scarf, and then we will say showcase the outfits given fashion styles, let's say 2, and outfits. Okay, let's try it out. G++ example 3. What would I mess up? It cannot convert a function let's see, avoid function. Oh, I see. Because I declared that this is using the standard function and the one above is actually using this. So what we'll do instead of passing fashion styles 2 is we'll actually just pass casual wear. This is again important to note that we can treat these sometimes as the same, but there are some differences. In here, because I wasn't specifically using the standard function up here, I'm using this instead, I can't pass elements of fashion styles. I have to actually pass casual wear. But that's fine. Passing casual wear looks like it works totally okay. Nice t-shirt, nice dress, nice hat, nice scarf. The other shortcut that we can do is the following. You can say, using fashion, how do I do this again? Oh, I just forget the syntax. So, but I did put it in the slide, so we'll use that. Yeah, so this is what I'm looking for here. I want to be able to just write a variable type of my own, which will be things that point to fashion styles. So we'll call it fashion, and it's going to be equal to standard function, a void function that takes a string. And so now every time that we have a type of fashion, we can just say a fashion. So fashion designer. And now here I should still be able to do this. I think it's fine to do so. But also I can say that these are just fashions. It does the same thing. But now what makes this really nice is I don't have to have that really ugly combination of parentheses and asterisks and such. And I don't even need to use standard function blah, blah, blah. I can just say it's a fashion. I do need to mention here exactly what it is. I think this works okay if I also do the following. Fashion equals void asterisk string. I think this is correct. Let me double check. Yeah? Yeah, same thing. So either one is okay. It's just two different ways to write the same thing, but you should know that they both exist. Function does have some stuff that could be very helpful for you, so it's often preferred to use this one, but sometimes you also don't want to have access to this library of functional, in which case you may prefer to use the other. But they're both available to you. And now we have our showcase outfits function. It takes a fashion designer, and it iterates through the vector of outfits and applies it to each outfit. There we go. All right, on to the last one. So our final exercise, make a class called runway model. It's going to represent a model walking on the runway. The class should have a model's name, fashion designer, and outfit description and be able to walk the runway. Instantiate an array of models, simulate each model's walk. Okay, so once again, we'll duplicate this. Name, number 4. Here's what we're doing. Okay. So we have a class, and I'm doing this very messily. I probably should have this in a separate file, but it's okay. Class runway model. It's going to have a string name, a fashion designer, and a string outfit. Okay, and they have to be able to walk the runway. So void walk. And what happens when they walk is we say name is walking the runway. And then we'll simply say fashion designer of outfit. I suppose maybe it's more accurate to have a outfit vector, not an outfit description. Outfits vector, yeah. So that means that this should be a vector of string called outfits. And then once again here, we can simply call showcase outfits. Put it up here. Showcase outfits, my fashion designer outfits. Okay, instantiate a, let's not use an array, let's use a vector. A vector of models. And simulate each model's walk. Okay. So, here is my set of outfits. I'm just going to give that same set of outfits to all of my runway models. Let's, I guess, make a constructor runway model, given a string n, a fashion f, and a vector string, which also means I need to include vector. Yeah. Did I have a vector before? Yeah, I'm surprised. I guess maybe functional may include vector. That might be why I didn't have to have this before, because I just realized I didn't have vector before and it was still letting me showcase the outfits. So I think functional might include vector, which means this may be redundant, but it's probably good to have anyway. Okay, and this is going to be our outfits. Let's just apply these. The name is N, the fashion designer is F, the outfits is O. Okay, so now I got my constructor. I can make a runway model. I can assign the things to it, which now I can actually make these private. Okay, let's make some runway models. So, instead of showcase outfits, we're actually going to just put the same outfit on everybody. I need to make a vector of runway models. Give me the 3 famous models. All right, I'm just gonna take. Sure, that'll do. Oop, where did I write? It's changing stuff and I don't like it. Okay. Okay, so these are some runway models apparently. So let's say actually what I should do is I should make this a vector of pointers, and that way I can say vector pushback. Oh, sorry, models.pushback. New runway model, given the name, the second parameter is the fashion designer, which for this let's go with casual wear, and the same outfit vector. I'll do this again 2 more times. Did I miss I missed a parenthesis. That's why it's not doing this correctly. There we go. Another runway model and another runway model, and we'll change their fashion designers, and then I can say for auto, and this is a nice keyword to save me just some thinking. Be very cautious. There's a reason we don't teach auto until this point in the course, which is that up until now, it is very important that you know what the type is of the variables you're looking at. So I do know that this is referring to the elements of my models vector, which is runway model pointers. But if you don't want to type out all of runway model pointer, you can assume that the computer is smart enough to figure out the elements of your model's vector by just writing auto. This can also be very helpful if you have a very, very convoluted kind of function. Perhaps you have a function that returns a class pointer and has 3 different parameters. Rather than writing the whole thing out like this, you can often just write auto, which is what I'm doing here. So for each model in my models, model.walk, model arrow walk. Again, this is why it's important to know that I'm referring to pointers, because I need to use the arrow. Okay, let's give it a go. Plus example 4 seems fine. What do we got? All right, Kendall is walking the runway, nice stuff. Adriana is walking the runway, very mindful, very demure. Kara is walking the runway, supreme, 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 supreme. Boom, there we go. And so what have we done at the end of this? We have created our function pointer of the type fashion, which is a type of function that returns nothing and takes a string as a parameter. You can either have this as the standard function class, which is a template class, and in this case, the T that we're talking about is void string. Or you can declare it the more quote-unquote normally way, which is what I've done here. We have a bunch of fashion styles here, and these are basically just functions that print out different stuff based on the outfit that's there. Our showcase outfits function takes a function pointer, so this is our fashion designer, and a vector of outfits, and for each outfit applies that function to that outfit. And finally, our runway model class has a constructor, and it has a walk function that will say this runway model is walking the runway, and then call that showcase outfits method given the fashion designer of that runway model, which is unique to each runway model. Or not necessarily unique, but specific. And so I've made a set of outfits that are going to be worn by each person. I've made 3 different models dynamically with these different names. And here are their different designers, or I guess styles, however you want to do it, as well as the same collection of outfits for each of them. And then for each model, walk. That's it. This is kind of what we're working towards this whole time, just being able to say, for each model, have them go. And having them go just means having all the right functions being called by all the right places without us having to manually handle that kind of thing. So that wraps up this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.